The Trump administration has formally announced plans to redefine human rights, partnering with some of the country's most notorious anti-gay activists. After talks stalled for years, marriage equality is suddenly coming to Northern Ireland. And after a high court decriminalized homosexuality in Botswana, the government says that they will appeal, potentially slowing the expansion of human rights in Africa. We'll have the week's top LGBTQ news and how it affects you on Weekly Debrief. Thanks to everyone who makes Weekly Debrief possible with a pledge of support on Patreon. Head over to patreon.com/mattbaum or click the link in the description to check out the rewards for backers. Well, this week the Trump administration formally announced the creation of the Commission on Unalienable Rights, a group that they say exists to update the definition of the term human rights. But if you look who's on the commission, it seems much more likely that they're going to be limiting the definition. The group's led by Mary Ann Glendon, an anti-gay and anti-trans activist. 7 of the 10 commissioners have a history of working to block equality for queer people. The commission will meet monthly for a year at a cost of about $400,000. It's already been praised by anti-LGBTQ groups who explicitly say that this is an opportunity to roll back human rights for queer people around the world. And this week there were multiple examples of international advances in equality, as well as some setbacks. Northern Ireland's one step closer to getting marriage equality. The political situation there is super complicated, but essentially, Northern Ireland's government will be compelled to legalize the freedom to marry by October 21st if Stormont lawmakers are unable to restore a devolved government. What that basically means is that if the Northern Ireland Assembly can't reach an agreement to form its own government by October, then the UK will step in and start running certain things for them, implementing some changes that would include the freedom to marry. And although Theresa May declared herself an ally of the queer community last month during Pride, she was one of a handful of MPs who did not vote to expand marriage equality to Northern Ireland. Egypt continues to hold a trans woman in prison with male inmates. Malak El-Kashef was picked up by authorities after calling for peaceful protests, and reports indicate that she's been sexually assaulted since then. Human rights groups are calling for her release, but so far there's been no information when she may be freed. Big thanks to viewer Luck Victory for the heads up about this story. Good news from the country of Georgia. After authorities and religious activists tried to block a Pride rally last month, organizers were finally able to march this week in Tbilisi. It's the city's first ever Pride event, a huge milestone. But further conflict is likely, with anti-gay groups calling for a people's army and violence to prevent further LGBTQ gatherings. And in Botswana, the government says that it will appeal a high court ruling that decriminalized homosexuality. Several African nations have removed anti-sodomy laws in recent years, but if Botswana is able to turn back that progress, it could slow momentum for human rights in neighboring countries. With so many precarious situations around the globe, and with the Trump administration preparing to narrow the definition of human rights, this week's action item is to support the work of Amnesty International. They do particularly important work fighting to protect queer people around the world. You can find out more about their efforts and support them at amnesty.org. And as always, let me know about stories that need covering at Matt Baum on Twitter and in the YouTube comments. Thanks to everyone who makes Weekly Debrief possible with a pledge of support. If you find these videos helpful, head over to patreon.com/mattbaum or click the link in the description to check out the rewards for backers. And I'll debrief you next week.